Okay, so I'm casting some games I have had submitted by friends or Discord members or whatnot, or just something that looks interesting to cast. And here's one that Dennis sent me. It's around 1100, 1200 ELO, and here he's playing a ranked 1v1 on Nile Delta. So he's up against unique username, indeed a unique username right there, who is playing as the Vikings, and Dennis himself is playing with humans. So it looks like they are landing on different islands here. This is Nile Delta. It's a nomad start, so you need to build your TC before you can get started. And see, it's a smart move from Dennis already. Of course, gaining some scouting intel, but you never want your TC like right next to the shoreline, because then it's within range of the ships and everything. So nice TC spot here right next to a woodline, and with hunt and sheep within short distance, and already doing some sheep scouting here as well. Think about humans, not your obvious naval sim pick, and this is a very naval dominated map. You need to have water control to win this game, I believe. And transport ships can transport sheep now, by the way. And humans, they do, however, get the second TC in Fuel Age already, so Dennis, he could use his initial transport ship and place a TC on his enemy's home island as well. Vikings, in other words though, it's a very strong water civ. They have multiple bonuses on water and a unique unit longboat as well. So Vikings should be able to challenge water easily here. But then again, nothing is to stop one player or the other from landing early on the other player's island and maybe cause some mischief as they go up through the ages. I think I'm going to fast forward here until we reach the next age, because there's not really going to be happening much in Dark Age here other than some easy scouting here from both players. You see unique username scouting for Dennis's dock already. So both players are producing somewhat equally here. Dennis is scouting as well on his opponent's side. He's found the dock of his opponent now, so he knows approximately the whereabouts of the Vikings player here. Both players now at some 20 something builds. Dennis must have had some idle time or simply fewer fishing ships here. But both players going up to the village at roughly the same time here. Not going for any additional docks. Both players have only one dock here, and I think Dennis plans to move over here. So let's slow down a bit and follow this transport going over. Choof, 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 choof. 5 villagers. Second TC of humans builds really slowly, so that's going to take him some time to get it up. But could be that he wants to TC drop to douche his opponent here. He doesn't know the TC location. He doesn't know anything about the land area here actually, but let's have a look. Alright, just chilling. Hello. There we go. What's the play here? This looks like you would be going some kind of Taurus play. Unique username, probably freaking out already, seeing 5 hostile villagers on this main island, and he himself does have loom actually. And looks like there's a barracks going to be dropped for Dennis here, but he can't really hide it from unique username. His thesis already here. He should see the foundation. Yes, indeed he does, and he's sending a lot of villagers to fight with Dennis's villagers here, but house wall keeps them out now. Interesting. So barracks is up for Dennis here. He is also producing galleys on the water, so he wants to challenge the fish of his opponent at the same time. One of his forward villagers are being chased here, but the other 4 are alive for now, and likely there will be some military spearmen for some reason here for Dennis. Well, he hasn't gone to gold yet, so that's basically his only option here, isn't it? Looks like not the most successful forward here, losing at least 1 builder here, but of course causing idle time for a unique username as well. Dennis actually has the builder lead, but these guys aren't working, that has to be mentioned. Here's a stable as well. So really committing to the landing play here, Dennis. And a reaction by unique username is dropping a tower. And even losing some forward builders here for Dennis here. This one's kept alive actually, took the hill advantage here. Dennis is ahead in villagers, 4 villagers ahead now, so he's certainly making life awkward for unique username, but that villager lead can also be explained by unique username going fast castle because he's about to hit the castle age with Vikings, so with a pretty significant eco here. Dennis on the other hand, nowhere near keeping up, still hasn't got the gold here. He tries to batter down this forward tower here, but the Vikings player whose multiple TC boom will be impaired by having to force a defensive tower here. One scout is out, ready to snipe builders here. No land army presence for unique username at all, and here's a galley as well. No ships, I think, for unique username either. Nope. Well, 1 ship actually, so it's yeah, that's a transport ship. So no naval military for unique username here. Dennis committing to a couple of scouts here. Could drop a TC with this single villager, but that would probably be too risky. Here comes the barracks on land for unique username. It's being stressed up with 6 villagers or so, 5 villagers here. And then this is scouts denying them a little bit, but not nearly enough here. Also brings in the galley, however, without any upgrades at all here. Scout safely runs under the TC here, just running around blocking the villagers so the galley can get some shots in here. Then it's sending in 1 military at a time here, but they're just going for the constant annoyance here on the Vikings player, who is probably with a decent eco by now. He's already in cast stage. Not in any position to use the transport ship for a landing on his opponent though. So Denise is about to drop his second TC on his mainland on the gold here. So now finally he's going to gold. Might need to extend some to farm eco as well, although he is fishing nicely. He has quite a few fishing ships working for him. Also still taking some golds here, could take some hunt as well. Meanwhile, forward, feudal siege workshop for Dennis here. Something that unique username won't expect at this point in game. Another scout goes down here. KD pretty impressive for unique username by now. It's 14 to 6. That's villagers and scouts only, I believe, as he's dropping his second TC. And has a longboat out, but not committing to water play here at all. Probably doesn't stress it because he knows that his opponent is on land aggression mainly here. That is with a significant villager lead though, is could be fishing ships as well. Let's have a look at the actual villager counts here. No, it's 35 villagers for Dennis, so he's definitely in the lead, but he has yet to click up to the castle age. Keeps sending in the scouts, just using the food eco for what it's worth. Wants to get some villager picks here, even sends in a spearman always on as well. No villagers on the TC, so Dennis is using this to the full potential here. Knows he can run under the TC and not risk anything specific here, as he's dropping an archery range as well and producing battering rams. Not your common go-to Nile Delta play, I would say here. The unique username will see the Siege Workshop now, is dropping another barracks for himself, and actually two more barracks. Interesting. So probably wants to make some pikes or something just to handle the scouts and see that this will be coming his way, but Dennis has a range as well, so he could go for some archers, which he is doing. He will for sure not deny this TC for very long at least. It's delayed at 99% for now, but there is finished, and the garrison inside the TC and villager goes down. Longboats on the water now. Dennis doesn't seem too stressed out about this. Probably has a demo ship or something inside the dock there. Or a fire galley. Still committing to the fuel age play is with lacking lots of food to click to the castle age, so it's going to stay in fuel age for a bit. Here, Dennis still, he does have the population and builder lead though, even matching the military here kind of, now dropping a market and mining camps. Maybe he wants to even build some towers or even castles once he reaches the next age here. Meanwhile, his opponent is booming and has probably a more healthy eco overall. It's not producing at all right now, but he is on 3 DCs, producing builders from only one of them. So unique username is on the water. He's been punishing Dennis's fish. I think Dennis has lost quite a bit of his fish eco, if not all of it. I think that so villager count is still pretty high for Dennis. He does have two TCs to produce from after all, some idols here and there though, but overall it's doing okay. Longboats, although raiding here, raiding the woodland a little bit, but they're missing the +2, so their range will be limited, but this guy will probably go down. One men-at-arms, no, two men-at-arms from the Vikings player here firing away at Dennis's forward barracks. Want to clean it up here. There's a stable for Dennis as well. He's still in the field edge. Does he have... Yeah, he has some scouts out here. They will actually deal decently with the men-at-arms here, considering the men-at-arms have no upgrades whatsoever. Battering rams down here as well, firing away at the TC, actually killing a Castle Age TC here. They have some archer support. And more military production is coming up here. Archery ranges, stables. Dennis is going for the full feudal military play here with Cumans, and it seems to work out for him for now. He is, of course, being challenged on water, longboats making life awkward for the workers here, but you could just send them over to the wood and gold here and they should be fine. Purple has enough to deal with on land here after all. And drops another new TC up north here, which is actually within Dennis's line of sight, should be. If Dennis had Town Watch, he will probably see this one going up. It looks like a barracks will go down as well, but Dennis, he needs some more siege. I think he needs even... Yeah, he has fletching on the archers, but no armor and things on skirmishers. Dennis is... You'll rarely see a game where Dennis doesn't make skirms, or all units in the game for that matter, but here are skirms on the field, and quite a few archers by now as well, and unique username really needs to create some kind of military to respond to this now. Yes, long swordsmen, they will of course deal decently with the rams, but there are archers here as well. They could get some nice hit in on the long swordsman here. Yep. TC is mainly focusing on the ram. I think Dennis is wasting army here though, is staying very close to the TC, will lose archers needlessly here. Could have just pulled away. On water here. Where did unique usernames longboats go? He only has transport ships, so Dennis must have done something here. Used the fire galley to clean up, maybe. Quite unbalanced eco for unique username at this point. Is pretty low on food, losing, probably lost his own fish eco as well, or most of it. And then is committing to further rams and fuel H army here under TC fire. So the KD should be very much in unique username's favor. It's 56 to 18 at this point. Yeah, Longsword still at work here. But now a castle for unique username. How is then he's going to handle this? He needs Castle Age himself and to get into Cap Tram, and then he could deal with this castle pretty easily actually. He's sending his villager forward. Maybe he wants to wall in this battering ram so Provost villagers can't reach them, but I think this is kind of fiddle. This woman will die once the castle goes up. A little bit of annoyance here, of course, as the castle is being built, but there goes the woman. She has made her purpose. She's constructed a whole little city on the right-hand side here. But the battering rams keep going on the field. Constant annoyance from Dennis here, and his opponent running very, very low on food. Maybe neglecting his farm eco a little bit in the middle of all the defending here, and is subject to constant annoyance here. Something that might very well win Dennis the game in the end, even after losing so many units. It's KD 26 to 75 for Dennis. It just shouldn't be possible to get back from. But finally, Dennis is going up to the Castle Age with the questionable eco to back it here. Is not looking too pretty for any further forwarding here. He will be losing most of his production on land here now. So what does he do from here? He's preparing another transport ship, or did he land already even? No, it's not. Not really. Castage, about the key game for Dennis, is mainly floating wood and gold at this point. Was probably committing to archers and siege here, but he will be losing his forward production capabilities here now. He is making some stables on his home field now, dropping another dock as well. Maybe wants to contest watering more and get over and attack. A couple of fire galleys out here. There's still only one dock for the Vikings player here, so this Vikings guy is not committing too heavily to water play here. There's Castle Age for Dennis. He's almost closing in on direct Imperial Age click here actually. He has enough stone for a castle drop as well, so he could drop a castle somewhere on his opponent's mainland here. Blacksmith going up, so a couple of stables as well. And although severely housed, is getting ELO upgrades and some more transport ships here. Finally, another dock for the Vikings player here now, maybe suspecting, or another two docks actually, maybe suspecting some forward action on water from Dennis now reaching Castle Age. So a bit of a panic move here, maybe dropping so many docks, but he should have the wood and gold to sustain production from some of them as well. He's going for the longboats here. He has three longboats garrison and a couple more over here, so there shouldn't be any chance for Dennis to claim water at this rate. He only has two docks of himself, of course, but if he can pull off a landing with his ships, this ship here is staying close. Should probably be seeing some movement around here. No, maybe not. Nine longboats for unique username here, as Dennis is filling up his transport ships here with both villagers and army. Or is it mainly villagers first? Let's have a look here. So total of 10 villagers. This is totally going to be a castle drop, or even 2. He has no enough stone for 2 castles here. But how do you do that with 14 longboats on the field? Let's toggle his opponent's point of view again. Doesn't suspect a thing here. All 4 docks at the same location here. Of course, committing heavily to water here. Should be seeing these blue dots appear now actually on the map, but on the water it's also not too easy to see this. Then this is chilling out again in the shoreline before he lands his villagers. Probably that's something to attend to at home before moving forward. And here comes the castle drop. The longboats should have no problem whatsoever denying this castle drop, but Unique Username seems to have other plans. He's going to snipe the transport ship on the way home. There's nothing in that, there's no flag. Nothing whatsoever, just deal with the castle drop, man. Yeah, then this is even attacking the tower here, so this shouldn't be happening for Unique Username. He has army on land, he has long swordsmen here, he has long boats on the water, and still he doesn't bother to try and deny this castle from going up. Lots of farms expiring for Unique Username. He's probably someone who buckles a bit under pressure here, but his population looks very healthy here. He has 35 military against Dennis's with only 4. He might go Kipchak now at this rate. Don't think he has murder so for now the long swordsman can do damage here as well. And the defensive castle is coming up for Unique Username here. That's also probably within range of this castle. Looking close to the Imperial Edge click for Unique Username as well. But the same with Dennis, once his castle is up, so he could go in here. Kipchaks are out, dealing nicely with longswords here. Longswords don't seem to care about being hit heavily with arrows here. Another stable going up for the and Scorpion being added. That's also a decent pressure against the infantry, but it will have a limited movement potential here, considering there's a castle from Unique Username here, who has clicked the Imperial Age as Dennis is dropping a second castle in the north here, committing to the Kipchak play here. They do have the +2 and everything. Might have ballistics as well, because it looks like their arrows are hitting nicely here. Should be a good way to take map control, as longboats are raiding again on Dennis's side here on the TC. He doesn't seem to stress out too much about it, losing most of his woodland here, but he has wood access over here as well and down here, so don't think Dennis is too worried about that. He is behind the villagers as well, probably lost quite a few over here now, but in exchange Unique Username has a lot of idols for himself. His has idols here and some expired farms here and there, and is now going for siege of his own, as he is almost 60% Imperial Age, with Dennis only some 40% behind here. Here comes some more battering rams from Dennis. He is not prioritizing the cap ram upgrade here, although he could afford it food-wise. He's going strictly for the battering ram here and sending in only a couple of the time. Let's see what it's 21 military for Unique Username, but that's mainly boats. I think it's 20 ships, so he only has ships, so he doesn't have any land military anymore to deal with rams going forward here. So that could be really bad for Unique Username's castle. He will be going to the next age here. Here come Kipchaks and another forward siege workshop as well. Humans have access to even siege rams, so these battering rams could also become siege ram at a later point in game here. Longboats, of course, doing a little bit of damage on this side, but then again, Dennis doesn't seem to stress too much about it. He's too committed to his forward here. This could also be a point to hit for the longboat, so Unique Username. So if he goes down south here, he could get some nice snipes on the gold of Dennis, but he doesn't really know that there's a gold here. He would need to scout it in that case, and he doesn't have any intel actually on whatever's going on inside of the Dennis's island. Trebuchet now coming out for Unique Username, as Dennis is researching Captram now. Could be going to Siege Ram as well if the food eco allows. He's probably not going to get there just yet, but he's committing very heavily to land play here. Now has Knights out with the +2 defense against Berserkers of Unique Username. If he has the unique tech for Vikings, he has bonus damage against infantry, so against cavalry. So that could benefit him in this situation. Both players have Baltic and Arrow for their castles, so they have quite a bit of range here. Longboats now at the halt here, now not really doing anything. Imagine that the longboats could have stopped this castle from going up easily. They were here once then they started building the castle, and it was within line of sight for unique username, but instead he committed his longboats to go forward, and they did of course deal some damage here, but not nearly enough. And here come the capped rams of Dennis. Dennis also with Trebs in the queue here, so he could snipe his opponent's Trebs. His forward villagers are inside this castle, so they could also be tasked to repair this castle if Dennis does not risk losing his sending villagers to repair right now. Might just be enough. Kipchak are helping out sniping villagers trying to take out the capped ranks here, and this castle might very well go down here. More knights come on the field as well. They could help snipe traps over here. Castle goes down, capped traps should easily snipe this trap, and looks like one castle will go down for Dennis here, but no biggie there. He does have another forward castle after all. He has the means for trap production, ram production, and 2 stables for Knight's line here. He will be taking out very gold heavy units of unique username here, who has spotted Dennis's gold in the south area, but I think this gold is depleted, so not too huge of a loss for Dennis. Could be picking the relics for additional gold income here. And look at the beautiful score difference. Nah, it's only 1000 points. That's nothing. It's only kills, Dennis. It's no worries there. It's double KD for unique username here, so he's the one who gets the points for the kills here, but he's also the one under heavy pressure here and has committed very heavily to water but very little to land army here. Now he's dropping some ranges, will probably get some skirms out, but it might just be too late here with this kind of human, rams, trebs, Kipchak, knight, AI army push from Ogedai 1 here, or Dennis as he's called. He's Ogedai 1 on Twitch, but Dennis on Age of Empires D. Here comes some berserkers. They should be able to snipe the siege here, but maybe they can keep sharks are enough to deal with here. There's Imperial Scout Carousel. Where are the scouts? I don't see the scouts. Yeah, anyway. Solid naval presence for unique username here, but it's not really going to do anything for him unless he can get a landing down there. Dennis' eco looks pretty as 6th point, could keep producing army easily here. And unique username very lacking in the food department. He's neglecting to reseed some of his farms, and there's the okay. They're in the queue for Dennis. He has Imperial Age Scout Cavalry coming out here. Let's have a look at their upgrades. Look, nice armor on these. These are tanky scouts. Who cares about light cavalry hussars? You just run about with what you got here, and they seem to still be dealing with skirmishers. Skirmishers decently here. Scorpion getting some hits in on the berserkers here, and 8 Kipchaks could be enough to deal with this mass of berserkers, as well as unique username has lost another castle here. Not really much land presence left for unique username. He's been too neglect in investing in land army here after letting Dennis do his initial push on land here. More berserkers will be going down, and the unique username will not be able to produce more. He's also been heavily housed because of losing castles here. He's desperately trying to wall off with houses here, not to let the scouts, Kipchaks and Trebs in here, but he's about to lose yet another TC, and he's left with only 1 TC. He has some dogs, but isn't really fishing anymore, so he won't have any food. We can come on water either. Rams are also attacking the houses on the edge. Calculated. Yeah, good. Then he's going for killing and pop-capping his opponent here. And looks like it's working, because unique username is constantly housed here. He's losing more and more. Yeah, there's the edge, right hand edge. House is going down, and 107 to 100 population for unique username. And as he loses more villagers, he will get more pop space, of course, but I don't think he's in a great position to produce either pikes or skirms here in a 1v1 defense against this massive army. He's also with 21 army, but all this is on water, 19 of it is on water, so Dennis is dominating with 30 more military on land here, and it's complete panic for unique username here. He's lost all of his TCs as Dennis is dropping a TC on one of his golds here. Siege rams at work, and the GG is called. Yeah, that's also one way to play Nile Delta. Full heavy feudal pressure into Imperial Age action with castle drop and rams. Seem to work for Dennis, but I don't think this kind of neglecting of a water army presence will work for either of the players in the long run. KD 140 to 110 in the end, so Dennis did catch up in the end, and he raised, of course, more buildings overall. Unique username that raising 31 buildings as well, so he did raise a lot of Dennis's feudal pressure and also a little bit with longbow raids, but still not enough. We go look at food and food and everything collected for Dennis. How many theses in the end? 3 theses, I think, or arguably 4 as this one was going up. More than enough to keep up-ish with the villager count. He ends with more villagers, of course, because he killed a lot, but was behind on the point as well. But none of them really exploiting all the fish in the water here as you could do, or even go fish traps near your dock, because yeah, they were losing water presence on turns here. First, Unique username lost his, and then Dennis lost his water presence to longboats. At times here are going to be significant. Castle Age at 39.25 for Dennis says something about his feudal age pressure was constantly keeping up here. They were both at the same time to feudal age, but Unique username was able to pull off a Castle Age. His main mistake in this game was allowing a castle to go up this spot when he had 20 longboats right down here to deny it. So it would have been an easy denial of Dennis's landing there, and with longboats controlling the water, maybe you just had them patrolling the shore, it would be a very, very tough for Dennis to get back on water. So that could have been a play for Unique username, this one. Alright, let's go to another one. Hold on, I'm gonna... Be right back. Going to move on to another submitted game here. So we're going to another game here. It's Sistron, my friend, versus Greifovich here. In a, I think Sistron went random Civ for Arabia for this one, but Vikings is a viable Civ on any map. So he's playing Vikings here up against Celts. So both pretty solid infantry Civs, I would say. The Vikings infantry has more hit points, whereas Celts move faster, move 15% faster. So Celt's obvious strong point is the siege, and the infantry unit, the bold raider, the unique unit, also arguably a good unit to go for here. So Sistren in the grey for this one. He seems to have a decent map. He could probably full wall his side with ease here. Actually, it's some gaps, but wall towards the cliff here and these small sections here, and he has an easy time securing his base, whereas Greifovich on his side has a long gap, much more open map to the north here and to the side here, he'll struggle a lot more to get a full wall up. I'm not too sure if any of them will go for that specifically, but that remains to be seen. 2 backstones for Greifovic here, and backstone for Cistron as well, so tower rushing will be tough for either of them, as Greifovic drops a lumber camp right next to the gold here. Too bad they can't work multi-purpose here and mine both gold and lumber at the same camp. But main gold somewhat to the side should be decently easy to secure this side of the base for Greifovic. But then his side goals are much further away and not as easily obtainable. Sistro on the other hand has main gold kind of up on the hill here. This could be dangerous against Vikings archers there. Vikings are likely to go infantry opening into an archer's play. They have very good archers line with arbalisters and bracer and all those things. And also the side goal Sistron here should be easily secured though with a couple of walls on this side. So just wall out here, and not even the tower will range that too easily if you place the camp in the back here. So that is an option. Looks like Sistron is going out to bring his first board down. Both boards forward, not ideal. That's could be subject to laming, but these guys seem to be playing the fair game and not laming each other. Not even any cows being lamed here. Let's have a look at the scouting here. Sistron is scouting nicely in the circle here around this base, gathering the core intel around this base. Doesn't see the edge of the map here, but probably will get around to that as well. And Greifovic, on the other hand, is going forward to look for his enemy now. It's pretty early to do so, but he has found everything he needs here. He's got a grasp of his very open map here. All of his goals. I think he has some overview here, and I guess he's free to scout his enemy then. He's going all the way towards the edge, so he's found a woodland here, so he's probably hoping to find some resources here, and he is about to find Sistron here now. He could actually lame some of these cows if he gets close enough to convert them. He is Celts after all, so they won't be easily converted back because of line of sight. But he's content with sending the cow back to Sistron's TC, so it's not going to be lamed after all here. Does gather some intel though. Let's look at Sistron's scouting of this side still. Not knowledge all the way to the edge there, so this could be an entry point for Greifovic later on. There are some nice hills here as well. This hill is horrible for Sistron if the Celts player, if the Celts player can get any siege up on this hill. I was mixing up the civs earlier. I was talking about archers, but also Celts are likely to go men at arms into archers, so this gold will be subject to archers or tower fire if Greifovic did indeed scout it. He actually missed the main gold here, so I guess Sistron will be able to keep that decently. This lumber camp, I don't love this lumber camp. It's also going to be partly... Nope. Greifovic is a nice guy. He doesn't attack the lumber camp building villager here. Would have loved to see the lumber camp over here instead, because it ranges more trees in that sense. Of course, then you have the downhill for potential archers, but still, this one will have to be refreshed earlier than if it were on the woodland here. Some walling in progress for Greifovic here, who is taking his second lumber camp now, even before taking up to the next age. He is getting loom. I think he plans to go feudal age very soon now. And it could be a straight archers build here for Greifovic, the Celts guy, because he's not dropping a barristers. It could even be fast castle for him. He is with 7 on wood total now, but too few on food for a straight fast capital, I think. I don't know what these guys are up to. Maybe they want to help out eating the cow here, or go to wood, who knows. Yeah, it looks like he's going to try to get to the full wall here, Greifovic. He has a higher score at this point, but I think that's mainly scouting intel here. Sistron has a slightly more limited scouting here. He's scouting in a circle here. He's not going forward to see what his opponent is up to here, so he might be surprised later on. So Greifovich is going to go for the full wall here. This is extremely ambitious and not the most economic walling ever, but I guess it secures his base kind of here. Here comes the barracks, so we might see some infantry opening after all there if it's not the straight archers play for Greifovich, but he's not even going to gold yet, so I think he's going for a couple of militia and go forward and try and harass here. But Cistron is also full walling, so I think he will be full walled in time here. Greifovich with a stable, so not the most common play from Celts here. Did cancel the foundation. He wants the building to act more like a wall here, so he's dropping it downhill here and probably will plug this gap with houses or palisades or whatnot here. Is with a decent food eco here, not too many farms just yet, but he will be going for the scouts opening here, and Cistron on his side is now full walled, so the scouts won't do shit for Greifovich here. He's even housed as he starts producing his first scout here, so that scouts production is going to be delayed here. However, there hasn't been any early forward aggression from Cistron here. He might be going for a fast castle himself now with Vikings. He's missing some farms and such for that, but well, he's pretty heavy on gold as well, so it actually looks more like an feudal age archer's build for Cistron here, and here comes the archery range. And he is not in a position to afford a stable blacksmith just yet. But that's going to come next for his archers upgrades. Meanwhile, Greifovich is sensing no danger, he's producing his scouts and full walling his base. Alright then, so archers in production for Cistron here, and our Celt guy here committing to scouts. Let's have a look at the military count. It's 4 military now for Greifovich. That should mean it's 5 military, should mean 5 scouts for him then. I mean, if you have the numbers and you have the upgrades, your scouts could challenge archers here. They are also consistent in the military production, at least among each other. That Cistron has a slight with lead here, but they're pretty close in that sense. With a little bit more military for Greifovich at the moment. But it's nice to see them both producing consistently from the TC and getting their eco running. Cistron with the stables of his own as well. He didn't actually scout the army of Greifovich here, and his scout found a way in that was probably down below here, so this scout is going to be trapped, but Cistron will gather valuable scouting intel here. From what he sees here, this he will think that this is a fast casted build from Greifovich here with lots of farms and also being going to gold. This actually looks like it might be auto scout at work. But this one needs to see the armies that this guy is going for, and is about to discover it right now. Is seeing the lumber, the gold, everything runs close to the TC again. No reaction for Greifovich, no weakening the scout here, no attacking him when he's running into the land. Here's the barracks and stone gate, and here's the stable, which of course Cistron has noticed by now that there are scouts on the field. He's quick walling behind the palisades here and making spears to deal with the scouts of Greifovich before they can even hit him inside his walls here. Scouts still annoying, but they will take forever to punch through houses here. This palisade is kind of worrying though. It's 3 scouts attacking, no upgrades, but Cistron doesn't quite react, but here come the spears. And we'll chew up the scouts before they can get through the palisade here. So nice timing for Cistron there to get them in at that moment, not needing to worry about archers, scouts forward at this point. He has some archers as well. It's 4 against 4. I think Greifovich could take a favorable fight here as long as he runs on top of the hill above them, but he chooses to try and find an entry point instead. Now house walls outside for Greifovich. Maybe he needs to sneak this builder forward later for some forward siege or whatnot. He's going for archers of his own. I think, or no, still committing to the scouts play. 4 scouts against, yeah, look at the arguments, 11 to 6 military here. So he's strong with 8 on gold. I think for one range that's enough for consistent production. And also pretty heavily on wood here. He's floating quite a bit of wood. This actually has very many resources at this point. He could actually just build a market now and buy some food, and then he'd be up to the next stage. But a nice placement of 4 archers for Cistron here now, bringing in the spears as well, so that Greifwich's scouts can not easily handle them. And Cistron adds some scouts of his own as well. No upgrades for him either, but red scouts are already weakened. This is a nice army engagement here. Archers on the hill and scouts with the melee acting as a meat shield and also attacking the opposing scouts. But Castle-AOE is going to be on the way for Greifovich here, and he is with a decent eco setup for that. He is behind the villagers, though Cistron has 4 villagers more, but has yet to click up to the next stage. So nice military count for Cistron at this point. He's 13 to 6. He is his scouts chasing the other scouts, but now collecting his army over here. I think one thing you can do with archers as well is to split up a few, just have 1 or 2 to stay at the woodland, just being plain annoying here, because this is so close to the edge and to the walls that archers with fletching would be able to reach most of this woodline from the corner here or from this spot here, and then even on this woodline is something that Cistron could easily hit with archers. So it's some horrible woodlines for Grefovich here, but that's the map gen's fault, not necessarily his own, so he's excused for that one. So a significant army mass coming forward now though, but they need to break through the walls to deal some serious damage to villagers here. Some skirmishers are coming here, and as long as they are behind the walls, they will be able to take hits to the archers without the scouts being able to damage them. Cistron needs to react here. Might lose 1 archer needlessly here. There's 1 going down. Yeah, manages to save the rest of them, but they are pretty weakened here, and here comes 1 scout of Greifovich. He has a couple ones in the north here. He's not really using his army to negate the pressure here. He's now going for forging. Looks like he wants to play into knights here with Celts to begin with. Could of course be an infantry play as well. It's probably the knights to deal with the village archers here, as Cistron is up to the next age. Still only on 1 range, but that suggests to me that he might want to transition to something else in the next stage. He's floating so many resources right now on the way up to the Castle-AOE. And yeah, could even afford another range here and 2 range archers production to have a real boost to his crossbow numbers for the next stage. But I think again he is Vikings here. He could mix in some knights. Vikings have decent knights in the Castle-AOE. They have the full attack and defense, or siege could be added as well. But if Cistron wants to commit to the archers play with this kind of resource management, he could easily drop more. Just pretty low on the wood choppers right now actually, but that's because he's dropping another lumber camp here, refreshing that, so now he's back on 10 villagers on wood. So archery range is up for the Celts player here. He's actually taking into men at arms and supplies now, so he wants to go for the infantry player. That's a peculiar choice considering he knows that his opponent is playing archers here. Cistron also with 6 villagers on stone, so he wants to drop a castle here, either defensively or offensively. There are some nice opportunities for offensive castles here. That's, for example, on the woodlines here. Archers should also have an easy job denying some resources here, for example, this woodline. There's also a nice hill here to camp like Cistron is doing now, and he could also consider dropping a forward siege workshop here to and charge with mangonels against the production capabilities and the TC on the hill here from his opponent. So Greifovich is producing armies. I think it's mainly skirmishers for him, not prioritizing the elite scar upgrade. He's actually going villagers only at the moment. He has a stable as well, but has not chosen to go for knights here. It's only got a few skirms, and it seems to be wanting to go straight forward here. But Cistron, meanwhile, is going to drop a forward siege workshop on the hill here as Vikings. Scouts still feel for Greifwich. They're giving him value here, spotting some reinforcements coming in. They might just spot this builder going to build the siege workshop as well, but looks like Sistron is chasing here. He's even upgraded to light cav, so he will counter the skirms even more easily. These are pure age skirms, so they have no chance against the light cavalry here with their low melee armor and such things. Sistron pulls his Vedra away for a bit there, but keeps the army on the hill and needs to pull the army away to be able to get the siege workshop up on the hill here, but he's probably now going to produce some mangonels, maybe even scorpions to hit through here and get some nice hits on villagers and an army behind the walls here. But mangonels I think would be the player. You could easily afford two of them. He's floating very much gold as well that could be put into use here. He doesn't have a market, so he can't really adjust it to buy food and wood or whatever he needs right now, but with a market up he could adjust the gold eco into, for example, wood and create even more mangonels here. Looks like the light cab found a way in here, or if they just snuck through the gate here, but there might just be an overchop on this side where they could enter, and yeah, causing a distraction here. Crossbow is about to kick in. I think this was queued behind quite a few archers, that's why it kicks in just now. And Greifovich must have noticed that forward siege is on the menu here, because he is dropping a workshop as well. Could also be a defensive measure simply against archers here. So queuing some scorpions now. But scorpions will be weak to mangonel fire, they will almost die in one shot, so adding mangonels here is definitely the correct choice for Sistron, who is consistently moving from TCCs as well, so he should be able to catch up with villagers, I think, if he keeps his opponent busy here, but Greifovich for now is also producing out of 3 TCs. One mangonel here, but that will be attacking uphill. Still lots of gold in the bank for Sistron. He could even go straight Imperial at this point. If he had buildings for it, that is. He has the siege workshop, so he only needs another building and he's good to go to the next stage. He has the stone for a castle as well, which probably will be going forward at this point. For example, on the hill here or on this hill to protect his stone and gold. It could also be an option to go more on the defensive side. I like that he is targeting production capabilities here. It takes the stable first, although the villagers are trying to repair here. He could target the villagers as well to prevent the repairs. Yeah, gets a sneaky shot on the villager there, and she doesn't go down now, and this mangonel is desperate for repairs, but will be going down to the next scorpion hit, I believe. Where's the forward villager? She is coming down to repair, actually, so nice awareness from Sistron there. Maybe pull it even back a little bit further just to make sure it doesn't get a hit from something here, but this one scorpion surely should be a threat if these archers are on the alert, and the mangonel gets a nice hit in here. Meanwhile, Greifovich is on the forward on the northeast side here. It looks like he wants to be dropping a forward castle here on Sistron's production. Straight in the face of Sistron, doesn't even make an attempt to hide it. Let's see how Sistron reacts to this. He should be seeing some alarming red dots on his minimap by now, but most of his army is forward, so it's not going to be too easy to deny this. He keeps sending his army forward here, and there is an opening here as well. I think this castle will simply go up for Greifovich here. That's going to put Sistron's base eco in danger here. He's going to lose this woodland and access to this gold, but he can just move over to this gold, so he should be fine here. But still a nice distraction from Greifovich, dropping a forward castle here, getting some builder kills, but mainly he needs to focus on whatever is going down at his forward base. A forward castle for Sistron now on the hill here. Still committing to castle age play here, and still is not been able to take down this stable. He's not focusing the repair builds. If he did, the stable could have been dead, I think. But it's a significant mass of army for Sistron forward. He is with 40 military to 33, and is also dropping a defensive castle all on the edge of the map here. Interesting choice. Why not here to protect some farms and stone eco? But that's just my 2 cents. I might not be right here. TC firing away at crossbows here, but not necessarily targeting the mangonels here. Another stable going up for Greifowicz here. Really wants to plug that gap, and since that hole was caused by a stable being destroyed, then of course he just places a new one in its place to cover that whole hole there. 3 barracks for Greifowicz here. He's going to commit to the longswords play here. Questionable choice considering there is a castle in the vicinity here for Cistron, but here comes the university as well. I thought that was a town center foundation, I have to admit, because then he would have nice access to wood on this side. Cistron is expanding as well. He's making some farm and wood eco on this side, so I like that he's playing, taking back control with TCs and builders here. And also keeping consistent pressure, although he's lost his Magnolens here, he has a castle up with Berserkers, perfect raiding unit to move forward from here. They will also easily deal with elite skirms here, but he needs to fend off the forward at home as well. This castle should have never gone up if there had been some army present. Maybe just leave a couple of crossbows and get the knight out, and he could have denied it in time if he saw it early enough. But here come the Wold Raiders. Wold Raiders will cause some trouble in Cistron's TC area here, might even hit the gold in the back here, because that one Greifowicz has scouted, so as far as I know. So both players floating a lot of resources here, not really spending them consistently. Cistron should be able yet again to click Imperial Age, something he just did. He is also almost able to afford another forward castle, but once he gets to Imperial Age, I can get some trebs out here. That's going to make life tough for Greifowicz, who is, of course, close to kicking up as well. He's only missing gold. Does he have a market? He doesn't, so he can't really use a market to click up either here. But these Wold Raiders are doing work here. They are attacking TC. They have some decent, not too great, but some fierce armor here. So they're tanking quite a few TC arrows here, but why not just run further and harass the gold as well, because you know it is there. There he reacts. He was probably busy attending to something at home, as Cistron is landing in some nice Viking light cav raids here. To mention the population here as well. As more builders for our Celts friend here, but he is committed to the castle age just now, clicking him 50% behind Cistron. Cistron also is Vikings, so he has gotten handcart and wheelbarrow for free, so his eco will be stronger because of that, and his third castle is being placed at home to try and reclaim this area here. He should be able to get trebs out sooner than his opponent here, so get a couple of trebs out, deal with this castle, and make sure you have some kind of defense against Wold Raiders in the process. Maybe castle cover fire will be enough. Monastery going up for Cistron as well is going to collect the relics now for further gold income. Cistron should have a decent scouting intel map. He knows the location of 4 of 5 relics. The last one there is missing for both of them scouting wise. And score pretty even between these two. KD in favor of Cistron here is 76 to 63. As Greifowicz is taking a very exposed gold to the side there, so this will be a perfect target for light cav raids for Cistron here. Another forward castle for Greifowicz though, so he's not giving up on his forward here with this mass of longsword and Wold Raiders here. Cistron, however, has trebs in the queue, probably producing trebs from both castles here. He is indeed, so he will have at least 2 trebs, maybe one forward as well. Now he's neglecting his forward for now, but Vikings do get siege ram, so he could get to siege ram eventually. He is with the means to drop another castle as well. Celts player still committing fully to the infantry here. Cistron with some rams here, probably with the means to take out production here, but it's just too much infantry on the field there for the battering rams to be efficient here. Traps will be coming out though, and with some berserkers to cover them. Berserkers, I guess, will do decent against Wold Raiders maybe. This Scorpion here is getting in some fantastic shots of this archer group here. Look at these corpses over here. So Scorpion defense working out nicely for Celts here. The Celt seed fires faster as well, so that's something to consider in the match up here. Wold Raiders taking out production buildings like paperwork here, but traps are now out on the field, and Cistron even dropping a gate on this trap, so it will be harder to hunt down for knights or infantry or whatnot here next to the castle. Looks like Sistron will be able to deal with the forward here though. He is targeting 2 castles simultaneously here. 2 traps here, 1 trap here. He is a very nice consistent eco here again with the means to drop yet another castle. Good, and he's dropping some stables on the right hand side here. Wants to get some raids in again. This might be a very nice spot to raid. Just take Greifovic off gold here. I think his main gold in his base is out. He's now with heavy Scorpion though, so that makes Archer offenses more difficult here. But then again, this one is taking into the rams. He might be going siege rams enough. He's getting conscription now, so his berserkers will produce even faster. But where is he? He's producing berserkers. There they are. No murder holes for Sistron it seems, so the infantry of Greifovic is able to attack freely here. Berserkers with 9+2 attack, walled raiders only with 8+2. So the berserkers should be winning fights here. This castle might just go down for Sistron though. Yeah, castle goes down, but so does some infantry, and let's have a look at the eco setup for Greifovic here. Is floating quite a bit of resources himself, so he should have no trouble reinforcing his forward here with the infantry, which he's going for is with a nice food and gold eco. Sistron desperately needs to get some raids in now to stop the food and gold income for Greifovic here. Raiding this gold would be an option as well. This main gold is running out for Greifovic. He still has access though. But same could be said about Sistron is running low on gold here, so they will be need to go for the neutral resources. 200 swordsmen and wall raider for Greifovic here now. As Sistron is taking the full armor and attack upgrades for his infantry line units, he's producing out with 2 TCs, so he's going to extend his villager count even more, but now going to have some idols in the middle of everything here, and he's falling very far behind in military now. He's 76 to 9 military for Sistron here now. He's only 4 military. He's going to struggle a lot here now against twice the population from his opponent here. Yeah, it doesn't look too right here. These 200 swordsmen is a significant mass together with the ward raiders here, killing TCs just like that. Another defensive castle goes up for Sistron here, but there's not really much eco left to protect here really, so maybe also protect these woodlines here. And this sideways here might not even be, well, it's scouted by Greifovic, so he will be targeting this one as well then. University for Sistron now. As champions are in for the Celts player, you can see them moving quickly as well. They do move 15% faster, getting some great kills in here. KD 143 to 122 for Greifovic here now, with most notably population twice of Sistrons, more than twice of Sistrons. Is actually PopCap now, our Celts friend here. He is with 4 TCs at home, some heavy scorpions to defend as well, and I don't really see any way back for Sistron in this one. It's looking kind of tough. Siege Workshop coming up on the right hand side for Sistron though. He's not giving up just yet, even though he's behind with 50 villagers and 70 army, so that's a valiant effort there keeping stuff alive, but looks like Sistron's pillar of economy might be going down now because his market is dead, so no means to adjust gold eco into other stuff here as he's dropping another TC on this side. Not stopping Greifovic from taking this gold though, surprisingly enough. You can't really see it, but this is also a gold that some awareness is raiding 1 gold though, so he's getting some villager kills here off Greifovic, who is still now 40 villagers ahead. With any luck here now, Sistron might be able to get through the gate here. No, he doesn't, but he snipes even more villagers here. He's 100. Yeah, villager count diminishing for Greifovic now, but some awareness of Sistron. If he just scouts a little bit around the map, he will find even more villagers to take. He's found this gold as well, so light cover rate's really paying off here now. He's not really evening out the population though, it's just making more population space for Greifovic's army, which is close to 100 by now. Look at this mass of champions over here ready to roam around whenever. They're going to take out this castle as well. Mainly with the tread here, some villagers repairing, but Sistron will be running out of stone at some point. Yeah, light cab raiding, so some house foundation going up for this one here. Could be to prevent military from going. I don't understand these houses. I mean, you're not pop cap. This is to prevent the melee army here to get close to the castle, or yeah, I don't get this one. Cap ramps coming from Vikings here now. Sistron not in a position to take into siege jump, but there is no military presence from Greifovich here now, so he might just lose this castle to the cap ramps before he has time to react. His champions are over here dealing with Sistron's forward row. Sistron now with 20 military. Maybe he wants to keep enemy army there. Yeah, but there's not really that much army to trap in here though. But looks like this castle is going down for Sistron, but Sistron is also losing his forward castle here, so a bit of a forward-based trade here for these two players. Light cab coming to take a fight with the champs here. There's a halberdier for the Celts player as well. That's not good for the light cab here. Spiking light cab, even they're missing significant upgrades. Cap Rams now going forward, going for the death blow here, even though Sistron is down, still down 100 population here. I guess this TC is his next target. No more siege production, but wood gold production looking bright for Sistron here. He could still go for the archers again. He is Vikings, he could try and get to Arbalest, and then he will easily deal with Celts infantry like this. But no ranges for Sistron at the moment, and no, early still has the blacksmith, so he could get the upgrades. But here come the ram train, choo choo choo, and builder counts evening out. The light cavalry still paying off. Usually for Sistron here, who is out of stone, however, but the wood and gold counts very significant here. He could spam more rams, or he could try and get into the archer line unit saying, hey, hey, Mr. Palm. Nice of you to stop by, sir. Doesn't look that good for him, to be honest. No, it doesn't, right? He's been down 100 population, but he keeps pushing, and he's killing off villagers with the light cab. The problem though being that Greifovich, looking at this eco here, even if he loses all of his villagers, he will still be able to outmass his running army, right? Look at the military count here, 93 to 11 here. And but still, I still see an option for, as long as Greifovich is going mainly melee units, which he does. He has a little bit of heavy corps here, but that's still not enough if you have a significant mass of Arbalesters, which Sistron could go for. He keeps sending rams forward though, he's killing TCs, getting builder kills, it's even that out now. Look at the population count now, 172 for Greifovich, 101 military, 106. Too bad it didn't stop at 105 here, but that's another story. Sisteron ETC, yeah, exactly, except he's using rams and not mangonels like our friend Huang would do. Look at this tanky light cab here. It can withstand 8 angry movement hitting at him. But red dots all over the map. Red still has more map control here. Here come the champions to take Sistron's last resort, the side base here. Doesn't look bright for Sistron at all, but here come the light cab raids. He could kill off even more villagers. The problem is, if Sistron kills villagers, it's just going to make even more army for Greifovich if he opts for further production here. He does have the means to produce over here, so he could add even more military to his now 140 military. That's just sick, even for Celts. Almost double the control for Greifovich here. The KD pretty similar, surprisingly enough, but then there's Halboniger from Celts, and what can Vikings do? Yeah, right, but Sistron, well, he is really booming, but I'd say just that's not what the Celts guy has been doing though, but he could do any tech switch here. He's just floating so many resources, and he's almost pop capped as well, so why not just take him to something different? But he's really committed to his infantry players. 130 military by now. He's idling a lot here, idling his treb, kind of as well. Or maybe he's firing at the house here. No, it's on a break. Not enough gold for Ongers, no, but this gold is up for grabs again, so he could get back into it, I think. Cistron is taking this gold though, so Cistron is holding on here. Maybe he just wants to annoy his enemy to death here, because the game has gone on to 1 hour and 1 minute here, so and Cistron is still allowing here. Yeah, Cistron had a Berserkers at some point. You're asking theoretically for a matchup. Yeah, that's true. Well, Celt Siege is deadly to any Civ, I guess, so... But this guy, Grajfovic, probably around 1100 ELO, he really likes his infantry play and is with 109 military at this point. Cistron going for the Arbalesters now though, so he could be able to pick off all of Grajfovic's military if he can get the army count high enough down there. Let's look at Grajfovic's scouting if he sees that something is going on there. He sees. This is right next to the lumber camp, so Cistron doesn't really make an attempt to hide his forward here or his backside base, so this should be enough for Grajfovic to react here. It could be hard to spot that one dot on the minimap though. I eat my shoe if he wins that. Akkal-AOE, you know that Cistron sent me this game, right? So that could be an indication. I don't know though. Cistron has extended to the corner as well. Monastery, TCE. Does Cistron have any relics? He does have 2 relics, so he has some gold income from relics as well, but look at this eco, the Celts player. Look at his army count. Celts shouldn't lose this, ever. I never expected Cistron to stay that much again. That's true. He usually isn't this resilient, and now look at these fully upgraded Arbalesters here firing away, or they might be missing chemistry or whatnot here, but it's slaughtering units here now. Let's have a look at the KD. The villager count is in Grajfovic's favor. Remember, his main base has never been hit, almost never been hit by Cistron. And Cistron is chasing with Arbalesters now, but still 105 military for Grajfovic. Cistron is basically playing all by the A's. Look, he's taking the corners here. I love this. Grajfovic doesn't see this at all. I see some farms unless that's a spectator bug, but he does have some military presence here, so you could just send the champions in here and the tribes maybe, and then that side is dead for Cistron. But light cav coming in. Army mass increasing for Cistron. It's 61 military for Cistron all of a sudden, and he keeps adding Arbalesters. Finally, he did have lots of wood and gold, so he's making use of it. He even could batter the archers down with that many chaps. He could, but then they would have to be all at the same spot, right? And they aren't really. But yeah, it's true, if they get close, they should still be winning, but he's focusing on taking out Eco here, and he's losing the champs in the process. It's still KD in favor of Grajfovic here, and let's look at this Eco again. He's floating just so much, he could do a lot here. He can still drop castles, he can still make any kind of unit here. So there shouldn't be any way that Cistron wins this game. $53 Arbalesters for Cistron. His total army is 56. His DC down here is a monastery on this side as well. Yeah, red could buy seeds. Let's look at the market prices here. It's very nice food selling price actually. So Cistron must have been using a market as well, I think. Yeah, he has a market as well. But there are some heavy scorpions here that could mean trouble for the Arbalesters if he is careful here with his... yeah, should be fine, I guess. It's uphill. Arbalesters could snipe heavy scorps one out at the time here, but looks like that's Grajfovic's weapon of choice. He needs more siege for chop, more mass if that's the case. He is floating so much wood, food, and even stone that it's kind of disgusting to see that he's not putting up more of a fight here. But looks like he's probably losing some Arbalesters here in the process, but then again he's chasing away valuable gold units from his opponent here. But Eco-wise, Sistron still shouldn't have any way back into this game. He's really wasting our blasters here now. But now he's into Cavalier. Vikings Cavalier, people. Might want to try and get some raids in here, I guess, on Greifowicz. But then again, raiding this Eco in the back, it's not going to do anything else than make more room for your military. But Greifowicz down to 46 military now. It's been consistent over 100 for a long while now. Yeah, this is next level cockroaching, Akkal-AOE. Yes, Sistron is holding on like crazy in both edges here, but that's coming down to decision making of our Celts friend as well. Look at him, he's dropping more barracks, he's still committing to barracks, to infantry units, but now ranges as well, though he's producing skirmishers. Look at his food and wood count here, he could spam so many skirmishers that, yeah. But there are Cavalier on the field for Sistron, so the skirmishers shouldn't be a threat. He needs consistent armor production, though, is making armor blasters from 5 archery ranges and also making Cavalier. Where the hell does he get these resources? Yeah, it's pretty low right now. So this could be the last hurrah for Sistron here. He's still down 20 villagers as well, but he is extending his boom on this side and he's keeping his terrain on this side as well. He is with 3 TCs and he's producing out of at least one of them. Harvest chasing. Light Cav chasing the elite skirms here. And as far as I know, Sistron is going random sim for his games on the ranked ladder these days. So this is a pretty impressive play on a random matchup where the opponent may even have picked Celts, because a lot of people pick Celts these days because of Wang and his forwards. Halberdiers on the field from Greifowicz, understandably enough, there are light cav and there were some cavaliers a moment ago as well, but look at Sistron's resources compared to Greifowicz. He's just not making use. He's making trash, he doesn't need to make trash here, he has lots of gold in the bank. He could make mangonels into onagers, or he could make his own siege rams and ram down Sistron's production capabilities. I mean, the options for Celts here are many still. Yeah, he's going to drop a defensive castle now, so that should put a stopper to Sistron's Arblaster forward, unless he can deny it, of course. This Treb is still watching out over here, still chilling out, not really doing anything, but Greifowicz is taking gold from Sistron's old starting base. It's almost as if Sistron knows there's a castle foundation here, because he's just constantly running on top of it, so it won't be built anytime soon. He's going to use cavaliers now. So Sistron with a significant military lead now is taking a population lead as well. I don't believe this. His village lead, military lead. Sistron is pushing back against Celts with Vikings here. And there is a defensive castle going up here for Greifowicz, but at this point in game it's Sistron taking the lead again. He is badly housed at the moment, so he must have been losing something here. Come some champions to deal with his eco again on this side. Yeah, army mass 69, beautiful number for Sistron here. Is sending in some light cav to maybe the loose corps now, but they will run into castle fire and be dying from that. He thinks his Saracens, archers are mines obsidian arrows now, because he's using armless to take out barracks here, and he's taking a good while here, as we can see. But now forward siege being added, and it's capped ram. Sistron actually with the means to take into even siege ram here, if he wants to. So with some siege on the field here, that should be a good option to take out production capabilities for Greifowicz here. And Greifowicz, even with the eco to produce anything, not castles anymore, but he still has a foundation here that hasn't gone up yet, and he has some production over here as well, so he has the means to replenish army. He is chasing with champions here, but Sistron pulls his armlets back and will yet again kill this gold heavy champions army over here. Yeah, Sistron lost one TC on some eco here, but he's still well, it's only 2 villagers behind, and he's falling slightly behind in the military numbers again. Light cab on the field. Halberdiers here now, some scorpions again. This castle might finally go up here. He's committing 6 villagers to the task. But there are, yeah, here are the arbalists again. Arbalists will need to focus on the halberdiers here. There's a nice combination for Greifovich here with skirms and halbs and champions here. It's not going to be too easy for Sistron to deal with, but he has siege rams now, and I think he's going to target the heavy scorpions with siege rams, funnily enough. Headshot. 2. Okay, that's also one thing you don't see a lot. He could also send the siege rams right for the castle now. But the arbalists will, even having the hill here, will be losing because of the skirms in the mix here. Siege rams still chasing the scorps here. What's the Sistron's resources like? He's definitely falling behind the resources here and population again, but the villager count's pretty even. But it's now Greifovich with the army lead again, and Greifovich still with the opportunity to mass so much more. But look at the KD, 550 almost for Sistron to 510 for Greifovich. Sistron now aiming for the production here, but he will be losing precious siege rams in the process here. Greifovich still with the means to produce a lot. Yep, it's military numbers rising for Greifovich again there. The game is crossing the 1 hour 21 minute mark. Why are Sistron's games so long? Those sends me. Still pretty eventful. There's some presence over here, so only wood chopping for Greifovich here. His Treb still chilling out. But Sistron's left hand side base still untouched. Greifovich has no idea there's something going on here. He's just probably asking himself what the heck is going on here. And yeah, gaining ground now. Greifovich still needs to attend to Sistron's left side base here, which is slowly extending here. But Sistron's eco should be worrying by now. It's only relic gold for him at the moment. He has 2 relics, I guess, still. And floating only wood and food now, so he will have to commit to trash play by now. But here come the champions to take out his southeastern side TC. Greifovich yet again dominating the game with superior military numbers. He's 40 more military now. So much back and forth here. But now Sistron will be the one losing production to halberdiers, skirms and champs hitting here. And Greifovich should really by now be scouting the only edge of the map that he doesn't really see unless he sees these farms. But that I think is a spec bug because those were just placed by Sistron. So do anything. He has Wall Raider over here now, chasing light cavalry. Wall Raider running over here. Go! Right click. Here. Well, maybe not. We take one base at a time here. So significant army mass on this side. No more TC for Sistron. He's still with a ridiculous lead here now. Is raiding the home base of Greifovich. So Greifovich is down to 47 villagers, but with this eco, as said, doesn't really matter. It's probably just happy to lose villagers now. That leaves more room for army. Population 127, could be 120 military soon if he keeps committing to production. But he chooses to replenish villagers actually. So he wants, doesn't want to lose his whole eco here and finish the game with military only. He could go to 100 pop military here if he wanted to. Greifovich has just so many resources in the bank. Sistron is taking a hill with siege workshops. Again, he has siege ram. He probably doesn't have the gold for it though. He's found stone somewhere, may have bought it or something, or just mined it somewhere to sell it. Stone, selling stone? Might. Never mind, Sistron doesn't have a market, so he can't really do anything here, but dropping lots of ranges yet again here. Won't really be too many arbalisters this time around though, because he doesn't have the gold for that. But he needs something against the halberdiers here of the Celts player. Champions still roaming around there. I think he might be looking for where Sistron might be, but answer is it's in this fog of war over here he doesn't know anything about. So lots of archery range for Sistron. He just refuses to give up in this game. We have Greifovic. I need to stay with this fog of war now. I need to know if he's ever going to notice that Sistron is over at this side. That's where he needs to go to finish this. Sistron has very much alive eco yet, just missing gold income obviously, but that goes for both players. And Greifovic might run out of gold himself finally. He's with 15 gold miners though, so it's still not running completely out here. I have to see where he's out. Sistron is taking another corner here. He's found some neutral resources, found some stone and gold up here, so this could mean that it's still not the end of the game here. He will have access to gold again, and even stone. He might even drop a castle and get some berserkers out. Who knows? Really didn't expect this game to go on for so long. But here come the champions, seeing some production buildings, of course, on this side. Let's see the fog of war here. Siege workshops. Arbalesters, and he's thinking, where the hell does he find the resources for this? It's only 6 Arbalests, so the champions should be cleaning up this nicely. Yep, northern corner. Greifovic sees the neutral resources, doesn't take them down. Sistron is the one playing the gold here. So much back and forth here. Yeah, still lots of food and wood in the bank for Greifovic, and it's only with 46 villagers. He is kind of replenishing some of them, but he's mainly committing to army now. He just wants to end this. He finds this production. He will probably suspect something is up over here because there are light cab coming running this direction. Sistron probably will have to call the GG soon because he is going to run out of resources here, even with his side base working wonders for him over here. He's with 27 on wood, 44 on food, but that's only going to be trash, and his opponent still has 600 gold in the bank. Actually now taking into the range and defense upgrades for his elite skirmishers here, so he's going to make them better as well, but he is fighting against light cavalry as well, so the light cavalry Sistron could snipe the elite skirms, but then again there are helps and champions in the mix, and Greifovic should be expanding to this corner fighting Sistron, but he still has so ridiculous resources. Red will call GG if he lost champs now, I think. I'm not too sure about that. He still has 89 military, he has to feel confident here, he has so much military working for him. ACC is also taking out the relics of his opponent, right? So I don't think Sistron has relics anymore. Never mind, he has 3 of them. So Sistron has gold income for relics, but that's a very slow trickle of gold coming in for him. Yeah, champs hunting down yet another TC, and Greifovic might finally realize that something is going on in this corner, but now he doesn't know that Sistron is in this corner, of course. Sistron keeping a sustainable population with villagers, much more than Greifovic here. So he needs to starve Greifovic of gold and food and wood here, but that's easier said than done with the current setup that Sistron has with some relic gold income, of course. He's also mining gold in the north now, so he will be able to add Arbalesters once again, but there are champions and elite skirms on the field for Greifovic, so Sistron shouldn't be winning this. 30-something champs now running into the corner that Sistron has been having in peace for the last hour, I believe. So once this side base goes down, it should be the end for Sistron. Is down even 10,000 points here. I'm used to see there's not even any salty chat going on here. It's like if I were Greifovic at this point, I would have typed 105 a long time ago. 96 military for Gryfovich. Citron still with some resource income here, but that will decrease rapidly and okay, GG. Oh, yeah, crazy game. So let's have a look at the stats here. Alconder doesn't need to eat his shoe after all. Did look dangerous there for a moment. KD 734 to 693 for Greifovic, so that's some hold for Citron for a long while. The largest army paying off for him, committing only to Celt's infantry play here though. Economy not too dissimilar. It's more food for Greifovic, more of everything else for Citron. He did lose more army, so he did, of course, spend more on units overall. Uptime's also pretty similar here. And really cold playing little difference for Citron here and lasting that long. Well, the mic shouldn't be still anymore. So my whole introduction got lost there. That kind of sucks. But actually, while they're playing, let's bring up the rules once again here. Meme tournament. Only war elephants allowed. And Imperial Age trash post may be added. That's the main reason. The first round of this... oh, come on. This meme event, it's a 16-player event, and the first round is only Persian mirrors, only war elephants. Amazing. So I don't think we'll be seeing any significant early game action here, so I'm simply going to fast forward a little bit to catch up with whatever will happen in Castle Age here. If you want to know the rank of the players playing, use !rank in the chat. So both players kind of mirroring each other here, both placing dogs, both producing villagers, both getting housed maybe. No, only red getting housed here. So the beauty of this tournament memeing format is that you know you won't be attacked until Castle Age, so you could lure deer peacefully, you could fish boom like crazy, not worrying about fire ships, and you could basically play it any way you want. So what's going to signify the difference here is who has the better fast castle build and resource management to get into the castles and war elephants. So it's 6 fish for the grey player here, and same amount for mediocrity actually. But mediocrity is docking another pawn, so his food eco is going to get a serious boost here. He's with the perfect amount of resources to click to the next stage. Could be said about his opponent as well, but it's mediocrity who gets the click up first here, as our grey player here needs to get his second building up, which is going to be the stable. So blacksmith stable for grey, blacksmith market for red. Of course, going heavily into stone. Both players is more on stone for severe burden here, so he wants to get maybe 2 castles up straight away here. But first castle going up for mediocrity here, and we'll be seeing war elephant production shortly. I guess he might task these villagers to this stone pile next, just to get the stone boost going here. You'll need lots of castles to mass war elephants as well. And look at these beautiful palisades here of severe burden. They are not going to keep the war elephant out for long, my friend. But at least you get a heads up once the elephants start flooding in, so that's something. I'm surprised to see no one docking this pawn. I mean, you need 200 food, I believe, per war elephant. 200 food, 75 gold. So you really shouldn't be making a serious huge fish eco here. Only 1 pond for severe burden here, so he should be at the worse food eco spot than his opponent here. It's actually only 3 villagers difference on food eco disposition here. As severe burden's first castle is going up, he may be able to afford a second one straight away. And as far as I know, only the first one needs to be defensive, so he could place the next castle a bit more forward. Some nice quick walls here as well to make sure the scout doesn't snipe the walling villager. But then again, what is palisade walls going to do with war elephants? Looking at military count, is mediocrity with the military lead here for now. It's 4 war elephants, 3 war elephants out for him. He's with gotten the one of the attack upgrades as well, I believe. But here comes the second castle for severe burden, something that mediocrity isn't prioritizing at the moment. He is playing the boom game, placing another TC, wants to boost the food and probably gold eco as well. And 4 war elephants are out. The fun thing is you don't even need to worry about monks or helps. The only unit you are allowed to fight with is war elephants. So if you go for an early attack to raid the eco or to take out docks for that matter, that is okay. You don't need to worry about conversions and this stuff. Severe Burden successfully snipes Mediocrity Scout now, and he's about to deplete his food eco here. Might need to place some fish traps soon. Has some wood working for him, so that should be okay. Here we go. War elephants going for the house here, not the palisade wall, surprisingly enough. And there's even an opening to the north here that they could have entered through. So military count is the exciting bit here. Is 7 military for red, that means 7 war elephants against 4 war elephants, or maybe even 3 for severe burden. Looking at the upgrades here, severe burden has the defense, while mediocrity has the attack. Stonewall seems to be holding the war elephants kind of off here, so that's not too bad of a choice right there. Yeah, look at these tanky boys fighting. As said, it's until Imperial Age, this is the only unit you're allowed to use. Trash bows may be added later. I really don't see how trash bows could do anything else than maybe snipe villagers and the economy, because they're going to take a lot of shots to take out just one war elephant. Look at the 470 HP here, pretty crazy. Yeah, mediocrity has extended his fish eco here. There is not really any fighting for fish on the shoreline here. Maybe that's also against the rules to raid the fish eco early, even with elephants. But the mediocrity has presence in 3 ponds. His food eco should be higher than severe burdens, although he is opting for possibly a few more farms here. It's 36 on food for severe burden, whereas mediocrity has only 35 actually. But fish and ships, they bring in more food per turn, so should be making a difference in the long run. Looking at the military here, you need lots of food for the war elephants, and it's only mediocrity producing consistently for the time being. Severe burden, however, has 2 castles up. It's still only 1 castle, but about to be 2 for mediocrity here, who has the significant score lead at the moment. So brave female villager trying a house wall here against not only a few but 8 war elephants here. This is going to be the end of her, I'm afraid. Ouch, she got run down. And now 5 war elephants up against 8 here. It's actually Red's elephant are missing defense here, but have an extra attack, so I think they could do a decent job still. I'm a bit fascinating to see kind of walling by both players. So I guess houses work out decently. That gives you a heads up when the elephants come running for you. But I mean, these tanky boys will tear down the walls so quickly anyway, maybe with the exception of stone walls, which are a bit more tanky if you get... I don't remember if Persians get fortified wall, but you could go for that as well. This is a nice way to secure the gold eco for Severe Burden actually, but he is behind 3 military here. He is, however, producing out of both castle, whereas Mediocrity is not producing at all at the moment because he's lacking the food. Fish traps may be considered here by Mediocrity if he had the wood eco for it. I think he needs more wood for that to work, but doing some work, you know, University and another cast going up for Severe Burden, so he is probably thinking about getting Masonry for his buildings here now, and maybe also the ballistics for the castles and the trash post later on. So KD 4-3 only here. It's our tanky boys fighting each other here. Still no defense upgrade for Mediocrity. I guess it doesn't have the stable yet, or either. Or does he? He has the stable, so he has probably husbandry and bloodlines here for the elephants. But the military numbers are evening out now because there are 3 castles now for Severe Burden. There are actually 3 castles for Mediocrity as well, but he hasn't been producing as consistently. So maybe Severe Burden's eco setup might be better after all. He is going for Imperial Age. That could be huge because he could be getting, considering the eco can allow it, he could be getting to Elite War Elephant earlier. That would mean more HP, more attack, more everything for them. And then with even numbers in military, the Severe Burden could have the edge here. He could also then go for the Trash Post, which he already has the University to get ballistics for, and he has of course the Blacksmith to get the appropriate Trash Bow upgrades here. But while being up to the Imperial Age, it leaves Mediocrity in the position to exploit his massive food eco here. Hold on, they're both actually with the same villagers on food, surprisingly enough. And fish traps are out for Severe Burden. That's not something Mediocrity has invested in yet, so that's going to actually make a difference here in the food eco for Severe Burden. It's going to be much more efficient food eco on his side, and that could lead to better War Elephant, consistent War Elephant production, as he's getting all of the appropriate upgrades here for his Grey Elephants. And still military lead for Mediocrity here, but he has not clicked the Imperial Age just yet. He's going for the army approach here, trying to get the masses. And again, I have to point out again that Mediocrity has presence on 3 ponds, so he should have more consistent food eco in the long run, considering he also has farms up. It's 62 on food for Mediocrity now, Severe Burden still with only 50, and is in danger of getting attacked here. But let's see what Severe Burden goes for. He is Imperial, but he will not be able to get to Elite War Elephant anytime soon, unless he's already clicked it. Something hasn't. He's getting Wheelbarrow and Defense upgrade now. And numbers wise is 23-17, so I think Mediocrity is playing the right game here, going heavily on food. Overall is 49 for Severe Burden, but it's 65 on food now for Mediocrity. And food is what you need for Elite or for War Elephants, because they cost 200 food and 75 gold. So you see Mediocrity consistently extending his food eco here. Is now with 66 on food, and number seems consistently high. He is also on the way up to Imperial Age now, and once reaching Imperial Age should be able to afford Elite War Elephant. I guess I'll have to check that cost quickly here. It's going to cost 1600 food, 1200 gold to get to Elite War Elephant, and once he's in Imp, he could simply just cancel some War Elephants. Now with 4 castle production against still only 3 castles, I believe, for Severe Burden here. And keeping the numbers consistent here, it's 23-17 right now, and Severe Burden, the great player, is not producing any War Elephants at this moment. Imperial Age is in for mediocrity. He's getting Mahouts. That's going to get War Elephants 30% more speed. And he is... Does he go for the elite upgrade? No, he's prioritizing conscription and Mahout, so he's prioritizing speed and creation speed for the War Elephants. He's also halting War Elephant production, so that tells me that he wants to go for the elite upgrade once he has the gold for it. He's even getting guilds. And yet again aims for those. I guess that's because the house can be targeted by more units than just War Elephants. But why not just spread them out and hit the walls, pilot the walls as well? You'd break through more quickly here. Elite is on the way for severe burden here. No, for mediocrity, I mean. So that is going to be huge. He is with the numbers lead here, 27 to 17. Severe burden with 50 on food now, but compared to mediocrity is 96. It's going to be much more easy to sustain constant production from mediocrity here with his current setup. 100 on food and 22 on gold. Leaves, of course, fewer villagers overall to make military, but I don't think you need more than 50 elite war elephants overall to gain the edge here. What I would love to see from mediocrity though is adding some fish traps to the mix here. He has some wood eco for it now, and he has done so over here, but still, I guess he wants to deplete all of the fish before he goes to fish traps on their respective ponds here. Now, look at this elite war elephants, 620 HP up against 470 for the regular war elephants. So that's pretty significant difference right there. It's 15 plus 2, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 2. And more armor, more attack as well. It's 5 more attack, so when this clashes down, it's going to be a slaughter for mediocrity's army here. He is with 400 score lead. That could be resources in the bank. Looks like Severe Burden is struggling a bit more for resources here. He's also with 4 castles though, so he could be going for some replenishment of himself, but he will be losing numbers now. It's 37 to 13 now. The elite war elephants are just slaughtering here as Severe Burden gets elite for himself, but still missing the Imperial attack and defense upgrades. No production whatsoever for Severe Burden at this point. I think his eco will be set back, so production is going to be even harder here, unfortunately. And these upgraded but still slow boys are going for another clash here, and Severe Burden would be losing even more of his newly acquired elite war elephants here. He is on his home field though, and he is producing out of 2 castles. Unfortunately only 2, he's only with 33 on food now, so that makes it tough to sustain the eco needed for elite war elephants. But looking at mediocrity's eco, he's producing out of 4 castles now, finally getting guild nets for his fish eco, and is in a position to spam war elephants consistently out of 4 castles here. He's producing 6 elephants in queue in each of his castles here. His fish is going to be brought in much more quickly here, and now he's going to take out the castle with his elite war elephants, and the GG is called, and congratulations to Severe Burden, no mediocrity, not Severe Burden, to mediocrity for advancing to the next round. So it's a 16-player meme tournament here. I should add it's called Small Tournaments AOE 2. I'm going to add a command for that Discord as well, for the invite link, I guess. And you have some 16 contestants here. And the next round is going to be hunts feudal only. No advancing to castle age, no drushing, no laying of boars or sheep, no building forward towers until after 17, no TC drops. Anything else is allowed in feudal age, so it's going to be exclusively feudal age for that one. But that's the meme tournament game for now. I'm gonna browse through the stats in the end as well. Looking at the eco score here for mediocrity, pretty much higher here overall. I think he had a pretty sick food eco here. 48 to 7 KD, that's only elephants, except from the initial scout for both players, funnily enough. 32,000 food collected, that's almost twice the food of Severe Burden here. So having lots of fish and chips and lots of farms really pays off when you're going war elephants only. We didn't even see trash balls in this game. And uptimes could be significant as well, going to the castle age earlier. Severe Burden did go for 2 castles early on, but maybe that was not the best play after all, considering that you need so much food to keep consistent war elephant production from your castles. 4 castles for both players, but significant villager high for mediocrity here. So I'm going to go back to another game here. Moving on to a game submission here. This is Andy who sent me this game. It's from the ranked ladder queue, and this player is called FFFFF apparently. And yeah, it's a 1v1 from the ranked ladder. Andy with the Franks up against Ilmanen. Could be a Finnish player, what do I know? Playing as Britons. So the first thing that comes to mind seeing this map is that they spawn really close to each other. And I'd say that actually favors the Britons players more, as you are not as dependent on the mobility as you would be if they spawned on each side like this, like you see maybe more often. And but yeah, Britons likely to go archers, of course. It is nice for him then to have the gold in the back here. Huge wide open area here though, so it's going to be tough to full wall on these new area map generations. Not impossible though, if he goes for the greedy walls out to the edges here towards the cliff and here, then he suddenly has secured a lot of the map for himself. The main gold could be an issue here, is kind of up against the hill here, so that would be a perfect tower spot. Not that you usually see towers from Franks, but adding a tower here could be something. But berries in the back-ish could be useful. It would be harder to reach for any early aggression like a rush or with the arms, but scouts, of course, with the mobility would just run around and hit. The woodline situation, not ideal for Ilmanen here. He does have a woodline in the back here he could take though, but I guess maybe he feels it's safer to have it close to his TC like this. Looking at Andy's base, he also has a forward main goal here, far from ideal at least, but he has the berries in the back, which is great for Franks. They do harvest berries faster. And then there's a side gold here for Andy as well, pretty far in the back of his base, could be actually somewhat secured by maybe a wall on this section, and then you'd have to run all the way through his base to get to this gold. So it's going to be hard to deny Andy of gold here. Franks, of course, likely to go scouts. 4 on wood, not too untypical, even for scouts builds these days. Allows for more farms or more easy production buildings placed down, and Franks have the berry harvesting bonus as well, so you're not too dependent on the early farms for the food eco to work out. And he is now scouting his opponent's side already at the 5th minute. Kind of early, but if he's found everything he needs in space, he needs seen what he needs to know. He knows they're pretty close. And that's, of course, useful for a scout's build as well, because then you get to your opponent with your initial scouts even earlier. He may be looking for some stray villagers to take here. He could block the boulder here if his scout sees it at the right time, but runs into TC fire here. But here's a stray villager going forward that he could consider attacking, but he's playing the fair game now, not attacking these unloomed villagers for now. Both players at 16 pop, one idle for Andy though, but yeah, we'll remedy that soon enough. So their production is somewhat consistent. Andy is slightly behind, but nothing mentionable at this point. He is with 13 on food as the enemy scout is running into his TC here. Garrisoning, weakening the enemy scout significantly here. Of course, on garrisons when he realizes he can't hit it anymore, but that's 20 something HP lost for the enemy scout, and as Andy runs back, he might get lucky and run straight into it. Then he could get a pick off on this enemy scout and blind this enemy, at least temporarily. Here comes the barracks for Ilmanen. Did he take any? He's taking the 10 gold now from the pile here. Nope, he's going for the gold, so he might even actually be going men at arms here. He is about to click up, struggling maybe a little bit for food here, but Britons, they do eat sheep faster, so he should be fine to click up here at the loom if he force drops food. A bit unlucky there, missing 5 food for the click up. But there we go, garrisons again, and he's trying to go up, and he's going up at 21 pop. So it could of course still be straight archers for Britons, this one, but let's pay a little bit of attention to the barracks anyway. And this map wide open here, so he will be subject to a late aggression here. His berries kind of is exposed, but he's starting some preemptive walls here in case of any militia aggression coming, and they are definitely coming here. 2 militia in production for Ilmanen here. And Field Age, of course, kicking in for Andy as well, going for the 22 pop up. 22 pop scouts, not the most common these days, but it leaves you with more food eco to produce even more scouts, and I think that could be a useful play here against an archer's civ. You could challenge the early archers with the Franks scouts that have extra HP, and looks like Andy will be able to spot the Drush, or soon to be man at arms, going forward here. Something he won't be too stressed out about, I think, because he's walking towards his TC now. That will force the militia to run into or close to his TC fire. Enemy scout not really making an attempt to stop the walls here. Delaying the militia even a little bit more with his militia scout here. Nice play by Andy there, because that leaves even a little bit more time for walling. But in the end, the Britain's guy will be able to reach Andy's berries with the militia. Not able to deal any damage just yet, but it's still an annoyance and idle time here. And let's see, will Ilmanen go for the upgrade here as well? He does have the eco for it. Yep, Man at Arms just kicked in. Yeah, Man at Arms here being fought by bad villagers. That's not ideal for Andy. He might just lose 1 here at least. So it's down now 23 to 20. It's down 3 villagers. And now dropping the stable, rushing it up actually with 4 villagers or so here. And 1 of 5 is called. What a cocky bastard. It's Ilmanen. Unless it's meant like a friendly little taunt. Could be, but I don't think these players necessarily know each other's. Men at Arms now pounding away at the mill here, and he will probably use his first scouts just to clean up this. He has seen the open side of his opponent's base, so he knows it's probably not going to be full walled even if he charges with scouts here. 2 scouts now with some micro. He could get the weak ones here and maybe clean up here. He pulls back, tries to lure them into T-Sapphire, does not succeed, but has more scouts production from his stables here. 3 scouts now ready to charge against 3 men at arms here. Obviously not upgrades on either of those. But Andy keeps running forward. Doesn't take any hits, doesn't hit them either, but now finally takes the fight and will lose 1 scout, but clean up at least 2 men at arms here, maybe all 3 of them, and I guess this is reasonable play here just to get rid of the annoyance. Gets a bit unlucky there, but will use the villager to take the last few hits at the men-at-arms, and he's fine. Frank's player Andy now reacting with a range of his own here. In addition to stable, it's never a bad idea to have an archery range anyway when you go in Scouts Rush. If you add some skirmishers, you have an easy time sniping both archers and spearmen of your opponent if you ledge. Andy with a very cramped up space here, but fully walled. He should be somewhat safe against archers' aggression. This woodline is kind of in threat of archer's fire, but then he could always flee back to this woodline. One potential problem for Andy though is walling out his main gold here. If he had walled this section instead, let's have a look at his scouting actually. Yeah, okay, he doesn't have that scouting at all, but if he walled this section instead, he would be fully walled on this side and this gold here would be accurate. Maybe that's going to be his next step to wall off this section. Because if not, this gold is very subject to archer's aggression, assuming that Ilvan has scouted it. Something he has full grasp of all 3 gold piles of Andy here, which is going to be significant when going for the archer's aggression to deny core resources like gold. So 4 skirmishers going forward, maybe going to harass this woodline. Is very close to being an overchop here as well. It's 6 military total for Andy. Let's have a look at what he has here. He's dropping a blacksmith now. Does he have the scouts are still there, or scout. But main skirmishes now for Andy is dropping the blacksmith as well, so might be going for the defense for the skirms here now. There is an opening here for the skirms to enter. I don't know why they're not going there, but that's going to be plugged by Ilmanen right now. Yeah, they're running the long way around now, unfortunately. So Britain scouts with fletching are out for Ilmanen. It's a mass of 9 archers for now. It's men-at-arms into archers with 1 range here. Most common to go 1 range when you're doing men-at-arms archers. Meanwhile, Andy is reinforcing his skirm numbers. He's with 7 military total and he's getting armor for the skirms as well. If he chills out on this hill, he should be able to get some hits in on Ilmanen, but he doesn't take the bait, but keeps moving forward instead. Skirms being sent back from Andy, of course, need to deal with this forward aggression here. More skirms in production. I think Andy is catching up on numbers here, 16 to 10, but it's only 9 archers forward for Ilmanen here. It's for sure not going to be a fast castle for Franks here off this, because the skirms takes lots of food and wood investment that impairs at least your food income for getting up to the next stage, but 2 villagers of gold as well, so we might still be seeing Andy going up to the next stage and close to, if not at the same time as his Britain's opponent after all. Fighting uphill with the skirms now though, it's looks like a bad fight to take, and constant splits from Ilmanen making it tougher to hit them. But Andy commits to the chase here with 7 skirms chasing a group of 8 archers that will be reinforced with spears and skirms down here now, so that's going to be tougher for Andy to take the fight, but he runs his scout right into this army here. Scout dies, but he gets the important intel that the army numbers are twice that what they were forward earlier now, so Andy needs some more replenishment of his own, I think. Not too easy for Andy to just add scouts either, because there are spearmen in the mix here. Spearmen tanking and skirmisher fire, getting both kills there from Andy though, so nice little split micro there to handle the spears there. Archers being brought back for Ilmanen. Of course he wants to keep his army numbers, but Andy is the one going first to the castle age after all. does have a significant number of farms here. It's 18 farms to the Britain's player with only 10 or so. Never mind. That was actually about the same number. Looked like fewer. Anyway, following suit with only 10% behind for the Britain's player and dropping the second range at that, and even a stable of his own. So it's going to bring out some knights or scouts or light cav or whatever is his weapon of choice to deal with Andy's massive skirmishers. And he seems to be setting up the eco more for knights here now. Is with plenty of food and 6 on gold. Will need a couple of more on gold if he's going to go for the double stable approach though, so he might only be committing to one. He's adding houses here to reinforce the wall as well, and he's found this section here, so now he knows that his back gold should be off limits for opponent archers for a long while yet. But Ilman has spread out his army, is keeping the skirmishers at home, but sending the archers, soon to be crossbows, forward, beginning to break to the walls, and he knows that there might be some exposed eco here to go. He sees the farm placements here, and once he breaks through, that could be devastating for Andy, but house wall goes up before the crossbow upgrade can kick in, and Andy is safe on this side for now. Andy, being Franks, of course, is queuing knights, and he sends his skirms around as well. Nice massive skirms here to kill off almost all of Ilman's archers in this group before the crossbow upgrade can kick in. He's actually not even going for crossbow just yet. So he's been losing so many archers, he isn't bothering the crossbow upgrade. He's going for some knights to deal with the skirms, of course. And he not going for elite skirm or anything, he's just transitioning or going into knights here from his stable. He has the +1, so should be getting the +2 as well, but knowing that he picked off the archer mass over here, maybe he's not stressing the +2 as much and going for army mass instead. One knight out for the Britain's player, doing some decent work among his skirms though, and actually matching the numbers of Andy, but no bloodlines for Britons, of course, so still 20 HP less. I guess Andy's just doing this to buy time for himself to get the army numbers up at home. He's trying to lure the knight over and skirms over now, but Ilmanen doesn't take the bait. And drops a monastery, which is a monk defense. It's great defense against the small numbers of knights in the early castle age, so that's reasonable addition here. And he's now going for his second TC, wants to extend the eco, taking these horrible woodlands that he has in the back of his base. And Britain's player surprisingly also only on 1 TC. He could maybe have considered dropping 2, but of course he's committing more into army upgrades and everything. Britain's TCs cost less wood, so it's easier to get around. Bad waypoint, okay. I get it. So they were never supposed to go in that direction. But it got pretty similar for both players here, and the army composition is kind of mirrored as well, and they're missing some upgrades for the skirms. But is mainly going to go into knights, of course, anyway. He does have more and stronger knights, of course. Britain's player not going for any upgrades for his knights here. They were mainly to snipe skirms, but once Frank's knights are on the field with some upgrades, that's not really a fight you can take with Britain's knights. They could still serve for raiding purposes later, or if he gets numbers up, he could take favorable fights against Frank knights, but for now Andy is pulling away. He's taking into elite skirm. He does have a mass of 50 in skirms here, so he's ready to challenge an army of British crossbows and non-elite skirms here. So Andy pretty far off with his knights here, and let's see. Is this mainly for scouting purposes or just luring the army around to sneak in there? No, there's the waypoint, so he's definitely going in there. No siege workshop to defend. Monastery, of course, to convert Britain's knights if they come forward. But there's a dangerous hill up here as well for Andy that he needs to take control over at some point. Jaså, ja, er du hjemme igjen, Akkal? Ja, er det. Kom igjen på... Ja, når var det da? Fredag. Forrige uke. 7 Frank's Knights now raiding the British economy here. All of Britain's army is forward. So it's not going to be too easy for him to do. Even the monks are forward for the Britain's player. So everything out of position could be devastating, but pulls some villagers inside to garrison. I think he saves most of his population here. It's 69 to 60 villagers for Ilmanen here. And yeah, surely annoying here. Not pulling his archers and skirls forward though. Er du med på TGS etterpå? Ja, kanskje. Vi får se. Hadde tenkt å caste litt lenger, egentlig. Fra klokka når da, cirka? Yep, some raiding going around here. Only 6 knights or 7 knights total, but still causing lots of idle time for the Britain's player here. Having Andy catch up a little bit in the village count, and Andy is also on 3 TCs. Only 7 villagers behind by now. Isn't it at 1900? Well, yeah, it's true. TG Thursday for the Norwegian Discord is usually starting at 19. We'll see. If there are people playing, I might join. Andy taking a fight here, but the skirm's out of position, and a very dangerous Mangadan shot here, getting only 2 skirmishers, fortunately, but weakening some more of them, of course. Knights very much out of position here, unfortunately. And now Britain's knights are running in to raid at Andy's base here, and it's Andy's turn to react to this. Well, it's only 4 knights though, so it should be okay, I guess. Has some monks in production, so if he can pull away the villagers, he will lose some, of course, and he's behind with 12 villagers at the moment. Actually committing to the raids forward instead. He knows that most of Ilmanen's army is still forward, even the knights and the monks, so makes raiding possible in Ilmanen's home base. Taking him temporarily off goal. Let's have a look at Ilmanen's resources though. He's getting dangerously close to the imp click here. 2 mangonels forward, and lots of army overall. It's 42 to 25 military at the moment, and he is very much idled. A bit of a panic movement around the TCs here, of course, to try and avoid the knights as best as possible. This TC looks in danger of going down though, and you don't easily snipe these mangonels either with so many crossbows around it. Looks like we might be seeing a TC go down here, but now Andy comes back home with 5 of his admittedly weak knights. All villagers ungarrisoned from these now because the TC has been losing so much HP, but looks like Andy's able to focus down the mangonels here. I can see there are 5 knights here not being brought into the mix. They are weak though, and they don't have +2, so maybe he doesn't want to risk it because they are such easy kills for the Britain's army here. Meanwhile, Britain's guy is more or less full walled at his home base, except for his gold to the side here. Only 1 villager on that one though, and here come the knights of Andy. Is now with a total mass of at least 10 knights in the group here to snipe whatever Britain's army is left here, and he's cleaning up nicely for one. No, I thought I sent it in. Ah, okay, I see. I was wondering what took them so long. Typical DE thing to... Sometimes DE doesn't react to your orders. Of course it's DE's fault, always DE's fault, so I'm always going to make that excuse at least. TC finally goes down. Andy is significantly behind the villagers here, but his knights will be able to clean up a lot of the army here, and Mangonel's investment is arguably a considerable investment for Ilmanen here, who is probably about to click Imperial Age here, although he won't gain too much from it, having lost a lot of his army here, so maybe he will actually stay in the castle age, commit to more army. But he does have the resources to click up as an option. Drops to university and some more archery ranges, so definitely going for the extended castle age play here. Let's look at Andy's resources. Not looking too bright at the moment, But he's fended off, he's killed off, so to say, all of his opponent's army. Will probably be able to reclaim his main gold now with the TC or whatnot. Missing stone, of course, but getting a market up now. Probably will just adjust the eco a little bit and try to secure some of his main base again. Britain's guy going forward with a pretty ambitious forward castle here. He doesn't have too much military to back it. He has a Maganel, of course, but then here are 5 Franks Knights, some monks, all of the army going forward to deny this. I think this castle should be denied. Maganel going down, villagers going down. This has to be a castle that never goes up, right? Focusing down all of the building builders now. I think the castle is at pretty high percent, but Andy laughs. Seems like a nice payback to the 105 taunt earlier, I'd say. So laughs a little bit at the very ballsy forward castle here. And again, picking off military. 17 to 17 army here. Skirmishers and knights for Andy mostly. Maybe still a couple of knights, monks, unless he lost them. And Ilman really wants to see this castle up and commits 4 more villagers forward just to their certain deaths here in the midst of all these knights and army here. I think Britain's player is a bit on tilt here right now. His first huge forward didn't work out enough for him. Nope. Now committing another 10 or so villagers to this castle. This castle is going up. Doesn't want the Franks player to have any easy access to stone here, although Andy is mining stone to this side, so he's just fine. If he denies this castle yet again, I think I'm going to have a bit of a laugh here. Some serious micromanagement going on here. Villagers force building, force building, force building. And the castle is yet again denied at at the point of GG. 98%. And Ilman then taps out and GG Andy, ending it at actually more villagers in the end. Of course, Brent wasted probably 25 villagers trying to get this castle up. Doesn't have the armor numbers, and in the end loses this game. Well played, Andy. This is the ultimate doubt castle right here. 98% committing villager after villager and placing the castle just to lose the game. Let's browse the stats a little bit here. So KD 120 to 105 to, in the end, look at this number, 105. You can resign again, says Andy with his final units lost. Fittingly enough. Resources in favor of Ilman here. He did get to the 3 TC boom a bit earlier. It's cheaper for Britons, or at least effectively he did. App times earlier for Britons actually with the Men at Arms app, but in the end didn't do well. Did some decent early damage, but maybe just got 1 or 2 villagers killed, and he was able to get back into it with his Castle Age Knights with Franks. Villager hide doesn't help when you waste 25 of them building a castle that doesn't go up. So well played, Andy, and GG. So I think I'm gonna need to take a break now. We'll be back with stream probably for TG night with the Norwegian Discord in just about half an hour really, but I will need a bite to eat before that. So thanks for watching, and